Hey everyone, my name's Josh, and here's a fun fact for you. I study television in college, and I also watch a lot of YouTube. Wouldn't you know it, some YouTubers actually have TV shows. Pretty crazy, I know. Anyways, here's the synergy. Honey, I'm home. Oh, hi, darling. How was work? Terrible. I was busy not doing my job, but there was nothing to watch on my unnamed streaming services. Well, maybe you should watch some shows made by YouTubers, dear. YouTubers? You mean those people that just sit in front of cameras all day? Here's the thing. Most YouTuber TV shows aren't great, but they'd be a lot better if the executives behind these shows trusted the bets they were making with these creators and gave them more freedom in what they're making. Also, I'm only talking about real shows, so no like Brat TV or anything like that. It just makes me sad. Honey, I'm on YouTube, and the only show I'm seeing is this lady without a shirt on. That's one of the episodes for Liza on Demand. It got renewed for a third season. But is it good? Well, she has 17 million YouTube subscribers, dear. Oh, fine, I'll give it a try. I really wanted to like Liza on Demand. Just imagine the precedent it could have set with YouTube going to creators to make scripted content for YouTube Premium. It could have led to some awesome television. But my major gripe with the show is that it lacks identity. It's abundantly clear that this was just a show put together by a bunch of executives with a big YouTuber plastered on the front of it so that if it fails, she's the only one that goes down with the ship, and not Harry Alfont or Deborah Kaplan, who, by the way, are the actual creators of the show. Oh, also, they haven't made anything notable or with a rating higher than 6.5 on IMDb. Like, yeah, I totally trust the people behind Flintstone's Viva Rock Vegas to make a sitcom for YouTube Premium over someone who's amassed 17 million subscribers on the platform. Psh, obviously. The thing is, I understand not wanting to just give a TV show to someone who's completely new to the realm of television production. But then to plaster her name all over it so that if it's bad, she takes all the blame is absurd to me. That said, I don't know what Liza on Demand would look like if it was completely Liza's show. None of us do. But I have a really hard time believing it would be as lacking in identity as it is right now if it was completely her show. I mean, it just looks so bland. She has the most boring looking apartment, the most boring looking car, and even her roommates, who are supposed to be these really bright and colorful characters, just look really muted whenever they're on screen. Part of that might just be like the weird color correction, I don't know, but that's still a problem that just wouldn't exist if the show had a better idea for what it was trying to be. Also, if you couldn't tell just by looking at it, the show's a pretty blatant ripoff of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I mean, a big reason why Kimmy Schmidt works, but Liza's show doesn't, is because it's written by one of the greatest comedy writers of all time with Tina Fey. I mean, just don't give Tina Fey Asian characters, because, like, yikes. But still, I'm not saying Liza Koshy is as strong of a writer as Tina Fey. Absolutely not. But I trust her a lot more to make a fun sitcom over the guys who made a very Brady sequel. Honey, that show was terrible. I watched all 2 seasons. Well, maybe you should watch this late night show with me. Oh, who's the host? Lilly Singh. She has a YouTube channel with 15 million subscribers. Well, is she a comedian with a background in stand-up? Shh, the show's starting. I didn't really want to talk about Lilly Singh's show. I mean, I did because I'd get views, but I don't really have much to add to the discussion that hasn't already been said. I feel like pretty much everything I have to say has already been said by Eddie Burback, Drew Gooden, and Jay Aubrey, so if you want to go more in depth, I highly recommend those videos. I'll leave those in the description because they're just absolutely fantastic. But, I mean, I still have this segment of the video, so let's talk about it. I went to the NBC.com page for a little late with Lilly Singh, and I just kind of scrolled through the clips until something jumped out at me so I could talk about it. And what I found was the monologue from the April 14th show. And it's all about porn. It's all about porn and like sex.
Websites have so many categories, it's overwhelming. It's like a Cheesecake Factory menu, but I don't think they're talking about the same kind of cream pies.
Aha. I'll be fair and admit that it got a few chuckles out of me, you know, a couple good ha-has, but this monologue goes on for 6 minutes. Just 6 minutes of constant sex and dick jokes. Like, don't get me wrong, I can appreciate a tasteful cum joke, but 6 minutes is just way too long. and not long enough. Like I said, I don't want to spend too long analyzing her show and talking about why she's a bad host or why she's not funny, because those are really all points that have just been beaten into the ground. I mean, really, all I have to add to the topic is just echoing the thoughts of Drew Gooden when I say I hope it gets better. Most of my research I did for these shows was from IMDb, and just something really funny that I found while looking on the Little Late page was that the first keyword to describe the show was woke. And I mean, honestly, yeah, it fits. I also found this little bit of trivia that says that NBC originally wanted Chrissy Teigen to take over for Carson Daly, but then after Chrissy Teigen turned it down, they went to Lilly Singh, which I just think is really funny because now Chrissy Teigen has a show on Quibi. So like, damn, those are some mogul moves, dude. When it comes to crew listings on IMDb, I always want to take it with a grain of salt because sometimes the episode counts just don't add up. Like apparently Little Late only had a sound guy for 83 episodes. By the way, there are 97 episodes. But one of the things IMDb usually doesn't get wrong though is producers and writers. And on IMDb, the head writer of the show is listed as this guy named Sean O'Connor. I don't have any problems with him per se. I mean, the guy worked on James Corden for 200 episodes, so he's absolutely qualified to be the head writer for a show hosted by a YouTuber, considering that he came from the show that stole most of its segments from YouTubers. Besides him, there's no other white guys in the writer's room, but still, late night shows aren't written by the host. Sure, they're involved and they're present, but most of your jokes and most of your bits are going to be coming from your writers. And it just feels really weird to me that the late night show known as the one hosted by a bisexual woman of color has a head writer and a co-executive producer who's a straight white male. I don't know if there's going to be staffing changes moving forward. The show just got renewed for a second season, and I really hope they take the opportunity to make some really big changes moving forward. Honestly, I can't really say that I've always been a fan of Lily's stuff. I mean, I've always been aware of her presence. She has 15 million subscribers. It's kind of hard not to be. But I don't really know if I'd consider her more of a comedian rather than an entertainer. And that's not a bad thing, but the show has to make changes to its format moving forward to better suit her strengths. And I do think that Lily's a lot more involved with her show than Liza is, but I also feel like late night TV is such a vastly different medium to YouTube that I don't think anything could have prepared her for that leap. And when she got the opportunity to host a late night show, of course she jumped at it, because who wouldn't? But as a result, I think she ended up in over her head way too quickly, and NBC stepped in and was like, hey, listen, we're gonna get you this head writer. He's been working in late night for years. He's gonna do all the heavy lifting for you while you figure it out. And as the season's gone on, she's got a bit better. But I mean, that's not really saying much because the highest rated episode on IMDb has a 3.1. And that was episode 12 of 97.
Damn it, honey, that was brutal. Are there any good shows left on TV?
Well, there was this one show that got canceled a couple years ago that was pretty good.
If it got canceled, there's no way it's good.
Maybe you should just give it a try, dear. It was by a YouTuber.
Well, how many subscribers do they have?
10 million.
I guess I can give it a shot.
So I've never really been a fan of Miranda Sings. That's not because I think her content's bad, it's just never really appealed to me personally. And that's okay. I mean, she has over 10 million subscribers and it's absolutely warranted. She's created one of the most incredible pieces of performance art over the past 12 years, satirizing the idea of influencers and self-obsessed content creators, and to say that's not absolutely amazing is selling her way too short. When I was doing the research for this video, I wasn't really sure what the third show would be. I already knew I was going to talk about Liza and Lily's show, but I also knew I wanted a palate cleanser from those, so I decided to look through a couple. Anyways, while I was looking, I stumbled upon Haters Back Off, which was a Netflix show created by Colleen Ballinger. If you didn't know, she's Miranda Sings, based on her YouTube channel, and the whole show acts like an extension of the characters and the stories she had built up for the 8 years prior to the show. And watching the show, it's incredibly clear that everyone involved loved the idea and really wanted to make the best show possible, even if it wouldn't appeal to everyone. And that's fantastic. Even though, like the Miranda Sings channel, I can't really say I'm the biggest fan of the show, I can still respect and appreciate the love and the dedication put into it. The show is also completely written by Chris and Colleen Ballinger, and it shows. Pretty much from the get-go, there's so much more style and identity in Haters Back Off than Liza on Demand could ever hope to have. And that's because it was clearly a labor of love and not just some executive project made to get more subscriptions to YouTube Premium. And now YouTube originals are in this really weird space where stuff like Liza on Demand is still being produced, but there's a whole shift to where the whole originals brand is moving to better quality stuff where the creators have more of a say in what's being made, but it's also really just a well-produced extension of their channels rather than an opportunity to cross mediums. YouTube originals also just completely stopped scripted programming and sent Cobra Kai to Netflix, so oops.
Wow, that was a great show. Maybe there is hope for TV. I can't wait to watch season 3. But don't you remember, dear? It got canceled after season 2. What? What am I gonna watch at work now? Well, you could always try Brat TV.
At the end of the day, even if I'm not the biggest fan of these shows, they still all got made, which is way more than what I can say. Well, unless you count that web series from freshman year of college. Actually, no, I don't. The amount of effort and work and dedication that you have to put in to even just get a pilot made, let alone a full season order, is insane, and it's something that I'm always gonna have a ton of respect for. I mean, no one branches out into TV to just make a quick buck or just as a shallow extension of their brand. It's not like writing a book or making a movie where it's maybe a couple of months or even a year of work that you then reap the benefits of for the rest of your career. If a TV show is successful, you can expect to spend years, or maybe even a decade, working on it. And honestly, outside of maybe a couple specific spheres on the platform, I really don't think there's anyone who wouldn't jump at the opportunity to make a TV show. It's just a shame that by and large, executives don't really trust creators enough to make their own successful show, and instead intervene to the point where what gets shown to the world is this mess of tired ideas and surface level tropes with nothing to make it stand out from anything else that's available. Anyway, that's where I'm gonna end today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. And before you go, can I just run this pitch for a show I'm working on by you? It's called A Little Josh on Demand.